Well, good morning, Lindsay. I thought that I would give you the little tour of my shop. I sent you that email about 6:45, I think, showed you the sun breaking up over the mountains, and that would have been behind me here. You can see the sun coming in the shop. Um, let's see. I don't really know where to start. I've never done a shop tour before, but I will see if this can flip around and um, just kind of show you things. Right there's the Powermatic saw that I rebuilt, and there's my dog eating. I free feed the dog. This is the Powermatic 20-inch planer and a sliding compound chop saw down there. And there's my mortising machine. I haven't got to do any projects with it yet. They were on sale during the Christmas time, and so I bought it then, planning to start building some chairs. Everybody needs lots of clamps, and I believe in having lots and lots of clamps. And in fact, I'm going to run over here real quick. Over here by my wood heater, I've got lots more clamps. All of the big ones are there, and that stove's kind of noisy. I need to put a new exhaust fan in it. It's one of those pellet stoves. I'll show you here a little closer. You see it's making good fire. The pellets just drop down into that little trough from up here. They're just these are just basic oak pellets, and it does a reasonably good job. If it gets really cold in here, it can't keep up with it. Next to that's my little shaper. There's a little edge sander and disc sander, and it's hard to see, but it's sitting on top of my little thickness sander. These are the things I don't use that often, and anyways, you've probably seen one of those Performax things before. Here's my Powermatic 141, and just a standard 14-inch bandsaw. This guy here is pretty cool. This is a portable bandsaw. Mafell makes one, but this one's made by Oliver. It's not very expensive comparatively. There's a few of my circular saws there, but most everything is crammed away that I either don't use every day or is for timber stuff, because I haven't cut any timbers in quite a long time. Everybody has a bench that stuff just piles on, and of course there's mine. And the stuff that I use off of it regularly is finishes, the battery chargers, and then all of the screws that I do furniture stuff with are back there. I keep some router bits and books stored up there. Drawers. In this one there's auger bits, and in here I keep finish guns. Underneath are drills and routers, and there's all the cases of stuff that doesn't get used all the time. So I'm pretty typical of everybody's shop. Here's the table saw that I've picked up last year. Delta Unisaw with the 52-inch fence, whatever came on it. Believe it or not, I don't like it quite as much as I liked my Grizzly, which was a cheap Taiwanese saw, but it had a real 3-horsepower motor on it. This one, it has a really wimpy 3-horsepower motor. So I'm probably going to drop it out and buy the 5-horsepower motor for it eventually. Let's see, back over here is the chop saw that I use every day. The other one that I showed you earlier is the one we take to the job sites. I keep this dust collector here in the middle, and I attach it to the table saw or whatever else I might need to, and I keep a shop vac attached to the chop saw, and I can move the hoses around to whatever I need to do. In fact, every tool in the shop has wheels on it. That's why things are crammed away. That big bandsaw weighs about 700 pounds, so it would obviously have to be on wheels to be able to move it. But even the little Powermatic right here, it still weighs about 300 pounds because it is a cast unit, so it needs the wheels as well. Over here is a lathe that I picked up last summer. It's not a really super duper one, but it's not terrible. I bought it because it came with a copy attachment. I had an old Rockwell lathe that was really great, and it didn't have a copy attachment, and I was able to sell the Rockwell lathe for the same amount that I had to pay to buy this lathe, so it was a good trade for me. This is a tool cabinet that I'd started to do that never did finish it, but I was going to hang all my hand tools and stuff in there, and I just never got around to doing it. You'd mentioned you had an old plane that you liked. I've always bought older planes. This is a number 5 with a corrugated sole that I'm still getting kind of fixed up. The only new plane I've ever bought that I liked, well, 2 of them, was a low angle Stanley 60.5, and then there's a low angle Lee Nielsen, and that right there is about a $230 plane these days, but it's really, really nice. Most of the other planes I have are older. Here's some old Stanley Baileys. Here's a little number 3 Sweetheart plane that I picked up with a corrugated sole. So there's just a number, it's a number 4 there, I think. Yeah. So I don't know how good I'm doing getting the camera on it. I actually have it on the backwards where it's pointing at me, and I can't flip it around once I started filming. Anyways, over here is the workbench area. That's a roll-around cart that I use when I'm timber framing. I keep all my big chisels in it. They're all in desperate need of work right now. Because I haven't done anything with them. I haven't been storing them properly. They're all nicked and they all need to be sharpened, but such is life. Here's my workbench. It's a pretty nice bench, but it usually ends up being a catch-all. Believe it or not, I do most of my work just on this 4x4 table. I use it as an outfeed table from my table saw, so it's about the only surface in the shop that stays clean all the time. So that's why I'm able to use it for assembly. Let me just walk over here as though we came in the, so when I come in the shop in the morning, this is what I see. Assuming I swept the floor the night before. So I have the obligatory radio, and whenever I'm running the equipment, I'll plug my iPod into this little cheap amplifier and crank it up real loud so I can hear it over the equipment. Here's the doors that I've been working on. Let me back up so I can get them all in there. There you go. These are standard, 3 foot wide, and then these are 4.5 feet. And I think I explained to you in one of the emails how they work. If you look at the doors to my shop, this door always functions like a regular door, and those 2 stay locked, but they will open in like a bifold door. There's a drill press. And when I go upstairs, it's mostly storage, and it's really, really messy. I've got all kinds of shop tools that I don't, or job site tools, I should say, that I don't use all the time. Here's my mortising machine for, let me get my hands on it there. There you go. There's the mortising machine that I use for timber framing. And again, just stuff just stored everywhere. But when we're working out here, I'll do all my sharpening right here and do tool maintenance here. Normally my son's drum set sits right here, but it's at school. This is another little repair bench, but right now I'm just storing all the tools that are not being used. Fasteners, whatever. Normally, most of my tools are out on a job site, but that hasn't been the case now for a couple of years, so it's usually a little emptier up here than this. My furniture lumber is all stored over there. There's some doors that were the wrong size. It's kind of a bummer when you build doors and they're the wrong size. So, here's an old radial arm saw that I bought and built this bench to put it on, and I use it to kerf for tenons and stuff, and that's what I would do before I got that good bandsaw. Now with the big bandsaw I can even cut the tenons on a big thick rail for a door because it's got the capacity to do that. Upstairs here in the shop you can see I can look back up at my house and all the junk outside. It's unfortunate, but I do tend to perpetuate the stereotype of the messy Georgia mountain person who doesn't keep stuff clean. So hopes are good to clean it up one day, but it tends to get piled up quicker than I can finish. But in a nutshell, that's the shop. It's a great place to be. Right now I've got it about 60 degrees in here, so it's a comfortable working temperature. And today I'm going to make the dividers for those doors to be able to put the glass. The small doors will have 4 pieces of glass in it, and the large doors will have 6 pieces of glass in each. So I'm sure there's a lot more. This film took a lot longer to make than I thought it would, so I may edit out some parts and see what happens. So have a good time. Talk to you later.